Well, today's episode, we're just going to feature two reviews. The first one is the latest ChocoPro 308. We have three matches. As you know, we get closer to 309, which is going to be a special occasion, but that's for the next episode. So, also, we have New Japan Pro Wrestling with more Road to Wrestling Dontaku until we get to May 3rd. Some interesting matches take place, not to mention the main event features LIJ versus just five guys in an 8-man elimination tag match. So that's going to be hot. But also, we got some news updates to tell what's been going on in pro wrestling, such as which events is happening, who's being booked, any injuries of wrestlers, and whatnot. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Leaded Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, let's begin with Choco Pro 308. Our opening match features Kojio and Shonchiru versus Chiko Shikawa and Balinaki. Now, originally, Sayaka Obihiro was supposed to be teaming with Kojio, but due to the fact of the previous show, 307, Sayaka Obihiro got injured and she was unable to appear. But luckily, they had Chonchiru to step in to take her spot. And I thought this match had a very interesting vibe. Like, I seen Chonchiru, how he acts, every time he talks. I don't know if he's that fluent in English, just to be honest, but he always talks in English. But it was pretty. It's like he was embracing the monster that is Kojio. So that kind of sets it in. But however, he's gonna have his hands full with too much energy, Shiko Shikawa, and of course our former Super Asia champion Balinaki. So I think that kind of sets it in. But what I did like is how, of course, Kojio is the big monster that you probably didn't think could be taken down. Well, unfortunately, it did. But luckily, in this match, it was Balinaki who pinned Chonchiru. But in the end, Kojio was not a happy camper. Now, we have seen Kojio lose matches when it comes with him and Sayaka Obihiro. The only difference between those two is Sayaka Obihiro is a member of the Uma army, just like him. Chonchiru, he's not. So basically, he's like, why should I care about you? You lost, not my problem. So it's kind of like that. Now, our next match is a very interesting one. This is Shivam versus Shin Suzuki. Now, Shin Suzuki requested this match as a way to help get revenge for Masahiro Takanashi. Now, Masa's not an easy guy to please, but Shin Suzuki has often admitted how Masahiro Takanashi has been his favorite wrestler. I mean, Masa's like, had this attitude like, are you being for real? But if you ever noticed, if you ever seen any of Shin Suzuki's matches, there are certain times he dresses like him, so it kind of um, resembled his wrestling gear. So Shin Suzuki had no problem in trying to be in a match where he can try to give a little payback for Masahiro Takanashi, because as you know, Shivam has issued the challenge towards a Masa to get the set up a pro wrestling openweight championship. So that kind of is the reason why he wants to do it. So, so that's the reason Shin Suzuki did it. But this match felt like more like a squash match because the entirety of the entire match it became more Shivam like pulling all his ability to show. that he's not going to stop until he retains the title. So he pulled off a beautiful neck breaker, giving him the win. So that's a direct message to Masa. Now, our next and final match features on Andrew Tang, also from Setup, teaming with the Big Apple, Mei Shruga. Those two are like almost two peas in a pod. If you guys don't know, they do the thing like, yeah, that's what Andrew does, and May's been doing the same thing. Oh, like, oh boy, how many people? She's friends with literally people who she thinks are cool. Not to mention the previous episode, she was wearing a Copper World Order shirt. So, but their opponents is none other than Hagine Shino, who is our current Super Agent champion, teaming with Emi Sakura, who is the current DPW Women's Champion. I thought it was pretty good, but however, there was some good moments where Balinaki was like enjoying seeing Mei Shruga getting her ass kicked. Now, it sounds mean, but for Balin, he had to deal with Mei Shruga's shenanigans over the years. You know, the way she behaves, try to act, but sometimes he needs a good laugh, and that's what happened. But unfortunately, it was, of course, uh, the Magistral by Emi Sakura to Mei Shruga to pick up the win. Of course, Mei Shruga acted like a baby, losing to Emi Sakura. So that kind of was funny. Now for our Jonkin tournament, this was a very difficult one to go through, but I can tell you who won. That is Chonchito. So he's very happy, and not to mention, he got in the face of what's his name, of Shin Suzuki. I don't know, maybe because he blames him for the loss that he had in the Jonkin tournament, or is it because he couldn't get the job done to finish off Shivam? I don't know, but nonetheless, it was a good show. So I think that's pretty much it. So there will be a 309 on the next episode, but let's move on with our next and final review: New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to Wrestling Dontaku. Okay, our final review: New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to Wrestling Dontaku. Um, it starts out with the House of Torture, all four members: Togo, Sho, Yujiro, and Evil taking on what's their names? Rohei Oiwa and the members of Chaos, consistently with Yo, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, the only reason this match was set is, if you guys remember the last time, Bushimon, consistent of Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto, seems like they want to challenge again for the tag titles, but Evil and Jujiro made their statement saying that those titles belong to them. So that kind of sets the whole thing. But as always, when we see House of Torture, we always see they cut corners. And then they did it again, with they took the advantage on Rohei Oiwa instead, with the garage, then the wrench. Then, of course, when the referee went back and didn't see a dang thing, Yujiro applied the pimp juice, giving them the win. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, consistent of Great Khan, um, Francisco Kara, and TJP, taking on Yuto Nakashima, along with the Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. Now, you probably can guess that, of course, Catch 2 Akira and TJP are not in a good, happy mood since losing the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. But, they would like to get a payback for that. But if I'm them, I would focus on the best of the Super Juniors. That is something that they should be focusing on instead. But as always, this match ended with a submission onto, of course, Yuto Nakajima by Great Khan, giving them the win. Now we got the other members of the United Empire more consistently with Aaron Henare, Ozzy Open, Fletcher, and Davis, along with Jeff Cobb, taking on TMDK, consistent of Vegeta, Nichols, Haste, and of course Zack Sabre Jr. Now, don't forget, TMDK, Haste, and Nichols did lose a match against Ozzy Open, but Jeff Cobb will have an opportunity against Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Television title. But I had a feeling this match was going to go where Aaron Henare was going to apply the full Nelson to Fujita, giving them the win. But it's a statement win for Jeff Cobb to tell him that that title is coming straight to the United Empire, and once again the Empire will run. But however, once again the House of Torture struck. They attacked Aussie Open. Bushiman even show up to try to get payback. Now Evil said this that that Bushiman had no business being there whatsoever because they felt you guys lost. You had your chance. It's over. But they feel that, Aussie Open doesn't even give a damn about those belts. That they don't defend them right. That they are the true owners. So right now, Aussie Open are not in a happy mood. They're pissed at every single time they're getting their asses kicked. I mean, what do they expect? House of Torture doesn't play by anybody's rules, especially how United Empire's rules. These guys are the rebels who don't give a damn what they think, as long as they get what they want. Now, our next match, we have Yado and Hikuleo taking on the members of Bullet Club more consistently with Taiji Shimori and Kenta. Now, Hikuleo and Kenta will collide at Wrestling Dontaku for the Strong Openweight Championship. But as always, there's always interference, all this and that. It was Ishimori with the crossface onto Yado to end this to win the match. But however, they continue with more of the beatdown onto Yado and Hikuleo. But luckily, Tamatanga and Master Wato did show up, the helping hand. So before the bell ring, they continue the brawl with Finley and Ghetto. So basically, they've been going back and forth until finally they went back to the ring and continued on. Now, keep in mind, David Finley has targeted the Never Openweight Championship that Tama Tonga has. So I thought this match was pretty interesting and brutal because we know Tama Tonga is in for a fight of his life. But luckily for him, it was Wado who pinned Ghetto with the spiral roll onto Ghetto, and boom, it was over right from there. So, but I have to say, I like how this team between Wado and Tama has established. I don't know when Tangaloa will be back. We know he's out on injury, but I would be surprised if Master Wato joins the GOD. That would be great. Now, our next match, as you know, the saga continues with Strong Style to take on Okada and whoever of his two partners of his choosing. Now, Okada teamed up with Toru Yano and Tomoaki Hamna. They take on Oscar Lobe and all three members of Strong Style, Despi, Suzuki, and Narita. But in this case, I thought this was a very interesting match. But I had a feeling that this was going to end with Hamna and, of course, Chaos winning due to the X factor of this match is Oscar Lobe. Oscar Lobe got monitored, and boom, it was over right from there. So, however, the obvious question did remain in the post match: who is Okada's third guy to be part of this match for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles? This is a very it's a good thing and a bad thing in some capacity. He picked Tanahashi, and Ishii just bounced. Now, if you guys know the history, Ishii and Tanahashi will never get along that well. But knowing Okada, I know for a fact he'll try to convince Ishii that this is no longer about these two anymore. This is about, doing something that is worth it. I mean, look, Okada has never held tag team titles before. I mean, he's always been a straight up singles guy. Made it to the top. That's always been who he was. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure Strong Style are like finding this very interesting. Like, you pick Tanahashi, but your boy Ishii doesn't seem to like the idea. So that kind of sets it in. Now, our main event features the 8-man tag team elimination match. We have LIJ consistent of Ibushi, Shingo, Naito, and of course Hiromu taking on just 5 guys with Doiki, Kanemaru, Taichi, and Sanada. Now, there's going to be a lot of good, interesting moments because, as you know, Taichi defeated Shingo for the KOPW title. But, of course, I lost track who got eliminated, but I can tell you how this match ended with, of course, Kanemaru losing the match to Hiromu. But I'm sure this is going to tell a story. Now, I will talk at the news update something that monthly Puroresu talked about what Sanada thinks towards Hiromu, and I'll explain that onto that. But for now, let's just end it here and move on to our news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. Spark Joshi Puroresu of America has announced for two more wrestlers, but on two different dates of their events they're having next month in June. Janai Kai has been announced will be at the Ignite East on the 11th, and of course we had Fort Vixen will be at the Ignite West and West Covina in the LA County on the 16th of June. So this is gonna be interesting. For our GCW updates, we only have two things that have been announced. For the way I am on the 20th of this month, Allison Kay will be there. They haven't decided who will be her opponent, but I'll be keeping a close eye who will be booked. Uh, Another interesting location for a new debut by GCW. Anybody from the Connecticut, the state of Connecticut, they will be at Hartford on the 8th of July. So if you guys, any subscribers out there, are from the vicinity or from the Connecticut area, then you guys are in for a treat. Jersey Championship Wrestling, or JCW, they announced for their upcoming event After Hours 3 on the 3rd of June. We have Madman Pondo taking on Brandon Kirk. Interesting collaboration with two different promotions. Deadlock Pro Wrestling will be uh, taking on Elevation Pro Wrestling on the 20th of this month. Both we have Lucky Ali putting his world title on the line against Jason Kincaid. So that's going to be interesting to see. As you all know of what happened at WrestleCon with Giselle Shaw, this was a very interesting development. Kevin Nash supports trans rights. So he viewed about what happened with Giselle being bullied and harassed by Rick Steiner was wrong. Basically, Nash is kind of like embracing change and all that. And it's kind of good out of him. I mean, he is one of the old guard. And I think that's the problem that Giselle Shaw faced, that none of the other veteran wrestlers who were there even stepped up. But now Nash is like saying that what Rick Steiner did was wrong. He should not have done what he did. But that's how it is. Now, interesting developments that's taking place in pro wrestling. Noah, have you guys heard of what happened? Suwama from All Japan Pro Wrestling invaded and attacked Keno. But, however, this is another interesting development. As you know, former All Japan member Jake Lee is the current GHC heavyweight champion. Suwama is now targeting him for that Pacific title. So this is going to be interesting to see. So yeah. Now this is one I've been decided to save for last. Now, as you all know, in New Japan Pro Wrestling at Wrestling Dontaku, Hiromu Takahashi issued a challenge to SANADA for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. However, we know Hiromu is the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. But SANADA has a different opinion about Hiromu's, how do I say, his recent behavior. Now, it's no secret when it comes to LIJs, they've always been known to be double champions. I mean, look at Naito. He was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Shingo, the double never openweight champion. But now it seems that Hiromu is, of course, wants to have both titles. But SANADA believes that Hiromu is neglecting the junior heavyweight division. Now, we ask ourselves, we know that he has challenged in the past heavyweight competitors. I mean, he defeated Evil. who was a heavyweight competitor. You know, that's an impressive match. But for him to carry both titles, the thing is, I remember, if you guys remember clearly when it with the Young Bucks a few years back, the Young Bucks were like the 7-time junior heavyweight tag team champions, but for a long time they've been trying to go into the heavyweight division for the tag titles. They told them no several times until they finally build up some muscle to reach that requirement, which they did. Now, I don't know what's the scenario with Hiromu. Is he building up weight for that? Because that's something I don't know. Because we got right now the best of the Super Juniors coming up real soon. So Sanada believes that he's neglecting the junior heavyweight division. So I don't know exactly. This is on the monthly Puroresu article. I'm gonna try to put that article at the description below so you guys can read it for yourselves. You guys tell me what you think. Is Sonata right? Is Hiromu really neglecting the junior heavyweight division for a much bigger ambition? Because he feels like there's bad relations between him and the junior heavyweight division. But we'll see what happens then. And I think that's pretty much it what we have for now. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. First thing I want to do is apologize. I initially was supposed to review the last of the GCW collective, which is FE Big Gay Brunch. Uh, I couldn't do it due to the fact that my body was already screwed. Basically, I was falling asleep on the entirety of the day. So by the time this episode is uploaded, hopefully I can redo that one. But we'll see what happens then. But for now, I know I'm gonna have more on the Wrestling Dontaku, the Road to Wrestling Dontaku, and of course, ChocoPro 309, and I believe all Elite Wrestling with Dark Elevation. But we'll see how it goes. For now. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.